in the sense that it's got a lot of mass. Not that it's physically big, but that it's got a lot of mass. And we can see with hindsight that these very, very dense stars, which are small and massive, actually explained it.
Jocelyn Bell Burnell had discovered a pulsar. And everything seemed to suggest that a pulsar was a neutron star. The remnants of the death of an extremely dense star, neutron stars are the closest thing to a black hole. So my theory was right, and in the end, I was wrong to doubt it. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new.
It became clear then that all the theoretical hypotheses posited earlier on, what was possible on how stars evolved, how they died and how they can collapse to become neutron stars, were true and correspond to phenomena in the real universe, which also meant that the next step, i.e. that if you have a dead star but one that is too massive to be a neutron star, and so according to Einstein's theory, has to be a black hole, was that black holes exist too. And after the discovery of pulsars, the conceptual landscape changed, and everyone considered it clear that not only did neutron stars have to exist, but that black holes had to exist too, and that we would find them one day.
You guys are not going to cook no cooking?
The gravity on a pulsar is very, very strong. You've got the mass of the sun, 1,000 million tons, all in a ball 10 kilometers across. And this produces some curious effects. Curious to our minds. They're explainable by general relativity. One is that the gravity bends light rays. So if I look that way on the surface of the pulsar, I actually see over the horizon. I see over the horizon in every direction. And it also affects clocks. If I'm on a pulsar and you can see my watch, you see the second hand is making one tick every 2 seconds because the gravity has slowed the clock so much. I can use my watch, take my own pulse, and it's okay. But that's because the gravity has slowed my heart the same way, and my metabolism. And actually I have problems getting onto the neutron star, the pulsar, because as I come down to land I am pulled down by this very strong gravity. But there's a very strong gradient of gravity. The force on my feet is much stronger than the force on my head. The body gets stretched. There's a technical term for this, it's called spaghettification, after spaghetti. But actually the difference in force between the bottom of your body and the top of your body is so strong, it breaks. Your body gets pulled apart. Your feet get pulled off your legs get pulled off your body, your head separates from your body, and the different bits of your body drop onto the neutron star, one after the other. So don't go there. Not a healthy space.
The universe is far stranger than I dared to imagine. The famous Schwarzschild singularity, an impenetrable sphere, actually represented the edge of a black hole. But what actually happens if we try to cross it?
This surface has an extraordinary property. It isn't material, and yet it separates space-time into 2 zones, each with different properties. You can cross it in one direction and send light from the exterior to the interior, but you can't send light from the interior to the exterior.
It's a trap you never get out of.
A black hole is above all a solution to the theory of general relativity. It is a mathematical solution, a space-time configuration, a universe. And the question is finding out if this solution actually corresponds to something in the physical world.
we aren't sure that black holes exist in the real universe. There are strong signs, though they remain indirect. But the entire evolution of astrophysics in the 20th century, the fact that stars are born and die, that very dense dead stars exist, such as neutron stars, and that neutron stars have a maximum mass, all this strongly indicates that black holes must exist in the real universe. Maybe we will find absolute proof in a few years.
Finally, my theory of general relativity has found its field of application. It describes the infinitely large. Astronomers today are following in the footsteps of Roger Penrose, Jocelyn Bell Burnell, Thibaut Damour and many others as they search for the existence of black holes hidden in the immensity of our universe. Without relativity, there would be no Big Bang theory, no relativistic astrophysics, and not even a scientific cosmology with which to speculate on the origin of our universe and its future. That said, as always in science, each new discovery brings with it new questions, and the black hole concealed yet another surprise over its horizon.
So if you go inside a black hole, you should find a point at its center, because if a star collapses in on itself, it crosses the horizon. But what does it do after that? It collapses. And what happens? General relativity says that the fabric of space-time tears, and that a true space-time singularity now exists at the center of the black hole. In other words, space-time has ceased to exist.
It gets swallowed by the hole. And then that information is lost to the universe. Now you see, this is not something people like. I can see there's some feeling of unhappiness from you on this specific point. You're not unique in this, I may say. And it's probably the majority view amongst physicists now that the information somehow has to get back again.
Yep.
Maybe into another universe, maybe gets out through some curious effects of quantum mechanics, one way or the other. Personally, I think it has to be lost.
Today, I enjoy watching all these relativistic scientists from afar as they try to resolve new mysteries. From string theory and loop theory to non-commutative geometry and twistors, a number of ideas have emerged to try and go beyond my theory. One such speculative idea has been developed by Carlo Rovelli.
General relativity works very well, but it clearly tells us that it doesn't work in the center of the black hole, where singularity takes hold. And this is where we need quantum mechanics, and for which we have a theory of quantum gravity that should tell us what is going on. What that theory tells us or suggests is that afterwards it bounces out and boom.
Hold on. If you say that it bounces out, then you should be able to see loads of little explosions everywhere, so why don't you?
Exactly. That's the magic of the theory. Because if you were on the star and strong enough to resist all that pressure, then that rebound would be practically immediate, a few milliseconds. Except that in general relativity, time passes at different speeds in different places. In a black hole, that effect becomes enormous, very, very strong. According to our calculations, a millisecond inside a black hole corresponds to billions of years outside.
Okay.
So if this image is correct, what is a black hole? It's a star that becomes extremely small, a Planck star, and then bounces out and explodes. But seen from the outside, the whole thing happens in slow motion, extreme slow motion, taking billions and billions of years. I think that a mystery lies at the heart of physics. A mystery that is yet to be solved. And that mystery is the nature of time. What really is the passing of time? We've discovered that time is not universal as understood by Newton. We've discovered that each person has their own time. We've discovered lots of things about time. But what really is the passing of time? We don't know. The theory my colleagues and I are working on, loop quantum gravity, has a set of equations limited to general relativity in one case and quantum mechanics in another. These equations are special because they have no time parameter in them. So time is not a fundamental ingredient of the universe. Obviously, as with all theories on quantum gravity, we are not sure because we have not yet to establish measurements providing the theory. But I think that on the whole, everyone is convinced that putting general relativity and quantum mechanics together changes something fundamental in our understanding of space and time.
To tell you the truth, I would never have wagered that 100 years later, my theory would still be around. I thought by this stage you would have replaced it with a better one. Now you have to unite quantum theory with my theory of general relativity. I'm convinced that this will once again revolutionize our vision of space and time, as my theory revolutionized the vision of Newton.
Isaac Newton, with Einstein, was able more than anyone else to see further, to see more things, and discover more things in the world. In a letter he wrote at the end of his life, there's a beautiful sentence in which he says that he doesn't know exactly how others will see him or how they will remember him, but he sees himself as a child on a beach, playing with pebbles, a child who is happy because he has found some particularly beautiful pebbles, while in front of him lies the immense ocean of all the things he has yet to understand. And I'm sure that Einstein shared that same sense of the immensity of all we have yet to know.
Every battle is both a victory and a defeat. It depends which flag you fly. In every theatre of the Second World War, battles won and lost determined possession of territory, of resources,
Mom, can we get
and
some
of the
of these?
strength
These
to
are
go on
good.
fighting. For some of the battles, it was the victory that
These
most
are good.
influenced the future
like
course
that?
of the war. For others, it was the defeat.
I think so too.
This is the story of the battles won and lost
Thank you.
that decided the outcome of the greatest conflict in history. Every war sees new tactics, some inspired, some desperate, that try to influence the course of battles. In the Second World War, campaigns were waged against non-military targets in an attempt to destroy morale. Suicide missions were launched when traditional weapons failed,
No, we're
and
yep.
forces withdrew rather than fire on their fellow countrymen. These are the battles, won and lost, that rewrote